Hello, I'm going to give you a brief history of the organization Rhythm of Hope International Initiative. It began in 2009 and has evolved to a 501(c)(3) tax-exempt corporation status. On this slide I want to introduce you to our board of directors. We have Consolata Waithaka, who I will talk about later. John Amisi is also a Nairobi contact. He is involved with St. Christina's School. We have Father Joseph in Nigeria. John Orzakowski is here in Chicago. David Gonzalez and Zoila Giroud are also in Chicago. They are our Latin American connection. Also, we have contacts in Nairobi as well that aren't board members. Father Jeremiah Gias and Elizabeth Akinyi, and we will talk about them as the show progresses. In July 2011, a mission safari tour was organized that was the trip of a lifetime. We met local people and saw sights never before encountered by us. We brought many things as gestures of goodwill: shoes, school supplies, soccer balls, vitamins, clothes and toys, 700 pounds. But it was just a drop in the bucket when one realized what was needed. We helped but also experienced a breathtaking safari. It was so awesome that everyone wants to go back, so we are planning another trip in the summer of 2013. Keep checking our website. We have contributed to a solar-powered freshwater well, clinic, and school in the past. The solar-powered freshwater well is pictured in the village of Garkawa in northern Nigeria. We visited St. Placida's Orphanage School, where 400 children reside. And Elizabeth Akinyi is our contact there, where we help set up a loan for the women to finance their business. They're manufacturing leather purses, which you can view on our website under merchandise. At St. Christina's School, we have been involved with them since the beginning. Here we had a cultural exchange with the children singing songs. It had been suggested that we sponsor a student to go on to secondary high school because the country pays for their elementary education but not the secondary. So we are sponsoring a student named Lynette who aspires to be a doctor, and I think she's doing pretty well. This is a picture of Father Jeremiah at his parish St. John's, and he told us about this program for substance abuse recovery while we were having lunch. And we're supporting him by sending him AA literature and other things. After that, we experienced the amazing safari and other tourist activities. Then the rest of the travelers returned to the States, and I went on to Nigeria with Father Joseph. This is the new roof that Rhythm of Hope was instrumental in putting on for a family in Father Joseph's college town of Makurdi. We met with Levi of Dajo Pottery. In Garkawa, where the well is located, we will be providing a microloan for some members of that village to learn to make ceramic water filters to be sold in local markets. Levi will train them in the making of ceramic pottery. How we have raised money in the past is purchasing the handmade crafts from the women's groups in Nairobi and Garkawa, which we sell in the States. This helps them sustain their livelihood. At our upcoming project, they will be very useful in training people to learn their crafts so that it's spreading the knowledge of skills. And I'll be describing that in our Hope Center project. We took a nurse with us who worked at the Nairobi Women's Hospital and the Shelter for Victims of Gender Violence. Through this affiliation, we met Consolata Waithaka, whose organization, Women's Hope, focuses solely on decreasing gender violence. She is also involved with microfinance, which has proved helpful. She visited Chicago, and we both learned a great deal about each other's world. It was then that she shared her dream of providing a shelter training center for the victims of gender abuse. Domestic violence exists everywhere, but in many third world countries it is drastically worse because of historically patriarchal societies. Gender-based violence is a widespread and socially tolerated human rights violation that takes the form of domestic violence, sexual and psychological abuse. Globally, 1 in 3 women experience such violence. It is estimated that 85 million to 114 million women and girls in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia have undergone female genital mutilation. The Kenyan government has set in place laws to wipe this violence out, but herein lies the problem. Wife battering is prevalent and largely condoned by many communities in Kenya. Traditional culture permits a man to discipline his wife physically and condones spousal rape. It is believed that 70% of women are regularly beaten by their husbands. Patriarchal domination was the norm, and men were recognized as having a right to chastise their wives. Female members of households were also subject to male supremacy, which could be enforced through violence. They were also akin to chattel or property. Our own Consolata has a personal nightmare which compels her work. She and her siblings would cower outside their rural dwelling while their mother was beaten. She went into a convent to avoid suffering the same fate, but a kind and gentle man won her heart, and they have a lovely family now. She is committed to helping her less fortunate Kenyan sisters. They are making positive changes, but they have to contradict long-held traditions. The police officers are prone to corruption, and there is inadequate infrastructures and equipment. At the Nairobi Women's Hospital, where Susan, our nurse, worked, they treat on average 230 cases per month, with 45% being children. Other statistics demonstrate that at least half of all women have experienced violence since the age of 15. Despite the existence of official statistics highlighting the magnitude of gender-based violence in Kenya, services are often left to the hands of NGOs, non-government organizations. There are a few halfway houses and shelters in all of Kenya. Some services can only be obtained in the hospitals, which cannot be reached by those in the slum areas which require them the most. A woman who lived with a man in a slum was not able to have children, so he would beat her senseless and leave her passed out on the mud pathways between the shacks. This is what goes on in peace times. In times of conflict, gang rape is used as a weapon, which is devastating on so many levels it is difficult to list. Of course, this spreads HIV and AIDS, pregnancies, and the emotional and psychological damage is almost insurmountable. At our board of directors meeting, it was brought up that we needed to have a headquarters in Nairobi. The shelter idea was discussed and the vision of making it a bed and breakfast to earn income to sustain the project. In January of this year, Consolata found a fantastic place in a beautiful and safe location. It is in the vicinity of several tourist attractions like the Elephant Orphanage and the Giraffe Center Park. It is fenced and in an upscale area. We felt it was perfect for our purposes and we decided to rent the place. We have come a long way with it since then. It is completely set up to receive guests, and it has separate quarters for our recovering ladies and areas set aside for counseling and training. The victims are treated at the hospital, and then there is no choice but to return them to their abusers because they have no way of making a living for themselves. What Rhythm of Hope and Women's Hope are focusing on is the rebuilding lives. We have the place to shelter them, counsel them, and to train them to be self-sufficient, utilizing microloans or mentoring. Already, many have been helped at the Hope Center, but we will arrive at a crossroads. We have a splendid bed and breakfast, as you can see from the photos. We have contacted hundreds of tour companies, and some have agreed to send customers our way. Tourism is a large part of the Kenyan economy, and people all over the world come to see the big five animals. We need to keep it going until we can receive guests. As you can see, we have many very positive projects underway, but we need your help and your financial assistance. Please find it in your heart to contribute to our Rhythm of Hope International Initiative organization. We look forward to hearing from you and welcome any questions. Please see our website where you can make donations through PayPal. Thank you for listening.